Captain's Log, August 14th, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you, you've made it to Friday. Another heat wave's coming through. Should be the last of them, hopefully. Excuse me. It's very hot. Of course it's hot, it's a heat wave, but it's just, hottest day of the year so far was yesterday when I walked to work. Not fun. And you may be wondering, well, if it's that hot, Captain, why don't you, take a bus or something? Well, that's because the buses are really finicky, and I would rather not, I don't trust the buses if I have, a deadline to get somewhere. If I don't have a deadline, and I'm just walking or taking the bus to save time, I'll take a bus. But if I prefer to walk, because I know how fast I walk, I know what the destination and how far away it is. It's just I trust myself walking faster, getting there than the bus. Because it can, in a very specific circumstance, be slower than walking. It's just, But I don't trust the buses to get me there on time. I trust them to get me there faster. So I take them home, but not to the place. Anyway. In order to cool down at work, I knew what I was getting into when I set it off to walk. So I left 20 minutes early than I would normally walk, and I got to work, and I just went to the employee-only bathroom, locked the door, took my shirt off, and leaned against the cold tile wall, and it was like jumping into freezing water. It was painful. Just the complete instant change in temperature for maybe 30 seconds. It was it was not pleasant, but it was cold, and that cooled me down. Because eventually I got used to it, when you talk about a pool of water. That's what I needed to do to cool down. They have AC at work, thankfully, but it's wasn't fast enough. Needed to just instantly just have the walls take away the heat in my body. Some other anecdotes from work that I'll get into in a second. I just want to it's hot. It's been the hottest it's been. So I do need to just it sucks. And I'm gonna be trailing off and just sitting here in silence every now and then because it's just hot. Only I'm not using any synonyms. But whatever. I apologize for that. So what did I watch this week? My father's pick this week with 12 Monkeys. Time travel movie. So, I gave it 4 stars and a heart and said, interesting film. I like how you're given information throughout the film and practically told the ending before it happens. Well paced, didn't feel too long. I didn't expect to like the soundtrack as much as I did, but it fits the odd tone. So there's an interesting, primarily uses accordions, but it really fits with the tone of it. Quite liked it. But it is a long movie. It's 2 hours. I mean, I said it's well paced, and it is. It's just, I don't know, again, planning around watching it. But I liked it. I didn't feel it was too long. It was paced good enough for it, even if it was longer, if it kept up with the pacing, might have felt shorter. I liked it. And again, I'm sorry, but it's just, I can't sleep. I can barely eat. It is too hot to do anything. I probably, were it a reasonable temperature for human beings to exist in, I would probably be able to give a more sufficient collection of my thoughts on this movie. I did enjoy this movie. I thought the ending was interesting, even though it was pretty spelled out to you how it was going to end if you were paying attention. I did quite like the continuity of it, like, because he'll kind of change information because he's going back to the past. So obviously he'll be like briefed on stuff. He'll be the source of his own information. He'll be briefed on things that he finds out and tells the like committee later on, and that's cool. I like that aspect of it. That was pretty nifty. I thought the love story, that was kind of odd. It felt really more like Stockholm. I don't want to get too much into what happens in the movie, but it was. I don't think it was like it was a bit rushed and just awkward. But the rest of the film was fun. Now, I also watched Leggett. I was told to watch, if possible, watch this. Because I believe, I didn't look into either of them, but I believe that Leggett inspired 12 Monkeys, which after watching 12 Monkeys and then watching Leggett, I can say, yeah, no, I'd say that's pretty clear to see with what happens in Leggett. The plot is one-to-one with just what specifically causes the apocalypse changed, and there's a few more tidbits in 12 Monkeys. But because I watched 12 Monkeys, which is a 2-hour film, and then watched Leggett, which is a half-hour short film, I watched them back to back, which was not a good idea. So here's the review I did for Leggett. I gave it 3 stars and said watching this right after 12 Monkeys wasn't the best move, despite how much this film owes to that film owes to this one. This then might have worked better. This then that. So watching Leggett and then watching 12 Monkeys to see how 12 Monkeys builds upon the story that Leggett makes probably would have been the better move. I feel like I've watched something and then someone else explained what I've watched. No matter how passionately or interestingly they do so, I can't help but feel I already know everything they're saying. Why am I doing this? The films are different and each have different viewing experiences, but I found this one worse even though it's not Leggett's fault. It's mainly just like... And that could also just be like I'm just tired. I don't want to just... I was watching a movie, now I'm watching like a very, very similar movie, even though this movie came out before 12 Monkeys. Like, this is 1962, 12 Monkeys 1995. So, interesting, but it just would have been better had I watched the thing that inspired it first, and then watched how it differs from its inspiration. I would like to touch on, like, 1995. Just I've only ever lived in a world in which the TSA exists. So it's always, I kind of get a kick looking at, like, movies where they have, like, an airport scene, especially when they're, like, committing crimes. Because they just have, like, the metal detector. They just have, like, this guy's got a gun. There's something up with this guy's suitcase, and, like, that's it. So it's always like, I wonder how the TSA would affect this movie's plot. Because they wouldn't be able to do something like this here. They wouldn't get out the gate or they wouldn't get to the gates. With this one, they're like about to board the plane. Just having some water, sorry. I've been thinking about this for a while. I've just been looking for an opportunity to bring it up. But speaking of watching like a film and then a very similar short film, 1-to-1, is most movies have satisfying endings. I'd hope so. But every now and then, I mean, a good ending is probably an ending that either wraps everything up nicely or wants you leaving more. But still, you're like satisfied not to get it. But there is one movie in particular that I would love it if they did not make a full sequel, but they just made like a 15-minute short film that takes place after the ending of the movie. Just like immediately after. Just 15 extra minutes. And I don't even remember the name of the movie. I don't even think it was a good movie. But I watched it when I was a kid. And the ending has stuck with me ever since. The premise is it's the monsters under your bed. And they have like a world. And the beds are like portals to this world, I think. It's not Monsters, Inc. This came out in like the 90s in Monsters, Inc. And I watched it later. I think like my mother was showing it to me. But like specifically the monsters were like blue. Like it was live action. And the monsters were like blue. They were in this like prosthetic, they had like ears. And the main character's monster was like nice to him. And there was like a bigger monster that was me. And I think the climax of the movie was that like a bunch of kids went into the under the bed monster world. And then they like, I don't know, I think they killed the bully monster. Brass tacks is, the ending of the movie is all the kids are at like a payphone. Cause they like, I think they like destroyed their portal back, but they used another one. So the main character calls his mom, and he's like, "Mom, I'm in California," and he's something. I don't think it was specifically California. I think it was like Los Angeles. I mean, it's California, but you know what I mean. And it's like, it like, she like, and it cuts right there. I would have loved like 15 minutes of the parents like pinpointing what payphone they're at, and like getting tickets and flying down and be like, how did you get here? What? Just a short collection of scenes of them collecting the kids after they like get out of the pocket dimension would be quite nice. I wonder if there are any other movies kind of like that where it's like, if I could just see that, I don't know. I would say that kind of goes against the filmmaker's wishes, because obviously if they wanted to do that, they would have done that. But it would have been funny. I don't remember anything else about the movie other than I think, like, the aesthetics of the under the bed world. It was, like, really dark, with, like, neon green lights and a lot of smoke. It looked like a stage, kind of. Some kind of middle school play. I don't know. I've always wondered about that. Ever since seeing that. Maybe I should try and track that movie down, and maybe maybe they do have. I don't think they do. I think I remember it's like, "Mom, I'm in California," and it cuts to them on the beach by a payphone or something, and there's like 15 kids just standing by the payphone as the kid talks to his mom. I gotta track that movie down. Oh well. But I've just always wondered about that. Not that much else to report. I could wax poetic about the temperature again. I can talk about some more stuff at work. Unfortunately, I've become important at work, which is the worst thing you can do. Um, it's unsurprising since I'm constantly talking about how incompetent the people I'm on staff or on schedule with are. Like, it's just these two guys and then me, and it's like, because I overheard, like, this was near the end of yesterday's shift, where it was like, no, don't like send it home early, like we need him here. And after the initial like pride of, oh, look at that, they're like, they understand how useful and good at my job I am, I went like, oh god damn it, no, no, they know I'm good at my job. You don't want to have the reaction when you clock in being, oh, thank god you're here. That's not what you want to hear. That's never what you want to hear. Yeah, it's awful. Oh well, I'll deal with that next shift. Give an update, I suppose. I am watching End of Oak Street tomorrow. So I guess that's 2 movies this week. But it's like I'm giving I'll give you guys the review next week for next chapter as well. I probably could have gone to see. I mean, the movie came out today, but I'm gonna go. I wanted to go see it on a weekend instead of like Friday. Mainly because I was playing Dying Light with Jason, but it's the temperature. I had to cut it short. I also had to I cut it short because I had to record this. Couldn't really do a captain's log with someone else. As funny as I've said it would be to do a podcast with a guest where I don't let them get a word in, and I'm just going up, I'm not finished. Okay, and the next part of the dream was just constantly doing that until they catch on to what I'm up to and just leave or something. As funny as that would be, I'm not gonna try that yet. I'm not gonna try that when I'm in no mood for it. But oh boy, cannot wait for the fall, which we are supposedly in. It's August. Should be cooling down now. Looked at the weather. This is the last of the heat wave. It should be reasonably temperatured by Monday, I think. Check it now, actually. It's bright. I haven't turned the light on yet. This time next week it's alright temperature. Yeah, no, it's reasonably temperature Wednesday. Wednesday, huh? And then next Friday, that's when it's smooth sailing. That's when it's fall. Well, that's not really, I wouldn't really call 18 degrees. That's 60 Fahrenheit. I still use Fahrenheit. Have I mentioned my weird time zone on my computer? I still use US time. And that's caused some issues because whenever I've woken up from naps, and if I took a nap on a day I worked, and I momentarily kind of forget the time zone, I'll look at my computer and it'll say, for example, noon, or well, I wouldn't do that, but I'll think it's I think I'll be late for work, when in reality I have 4 more hours before work. But I wouldn't think that. I'd be like, oh crap, I like overslept, but I didn't. But I mean, just like recalling, oh right, that's how my like clock works. I have it set 6 hours backwards because I've had it set 6 hours backwards for like 3 years, or I think closer to two, or maybe 3 years actually. Yeah, no, probably 3 years. So it's a little disorienting every now and then. But it'll be even more disorienting if I like set it up. I don't know. I'm used to it being wrong, I suppose. I could change it to be right, but I kind of like it being wrong. I don't know. I was gonna take a cold shower before recording this, so I'd be a little more coherent and my temperature would be lower. But like a cleaning woman is here at such an odd hour. Like she showed up at, I don't know, with barely any warning. Like 6, I think. And she might still be there. But like if she's gotta clean the bathroom, I can't take a cold shower to cool down. I gotta wait till she leaves to do that, which is irritating. I do believe the squatters are gone. I think I'm positive I've mentioned that there's a homeless couple squatting in the next house over. I'm positive that I've mentioned that before, but they're definitely gone. They got booted out. I didn't see it happen, but I saw the aftermath. They like trashed the place on their way out. I think it happened while I was at work, and I was like walking up the like walkway. I turned to see their like door ajar, and things were like even more of a mess than usual. And it's been like that for a few days now. Like the door is still open, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about it. Just, I mean, they never made any noise. Not like the house to my left. They're pretty noisy every now and then. I'm sure I'm decently noisy. I mean, I'm recording now, but I don't ever go beyond normal talking volume. I just talk a lot. All right. I think that's enough. I'm gonna have some more water on recording while I can still record myself drinking water. And there's some other stuff I could mention, but I mean, I'm tired. I think I'm gonna go to sleep. I don't know. I think it's too early to go to sleep. It's just I want to be unconscious. It's just simply, but I think it's far too early, so I can't. Damn. It's not fair. All right. Whatever. Thank you for watching. And good Vile.